Hello, my name is Kai. I am a bit of a rambler. I like to travel, learn, and tell stories. And welcome to Ramble On. Got more Panama stuff to talk about. You know, it's kind of funny. I can't remember what the day is because I've been traveling so long without a schedule. But this hostel I moved into, one of the reasons I like it so much is that there are no windows in my room, but there is some kind of ventilation because the water seems to dry very quickly, and Panama's not a dry city. I don't know. But there's no windows, so when I close my door, it is pitch black, and that makes it so easy for me to fall asleep. So I do really like that about this room in particular, and it's very clean. They have a daily cleaning crew that comes in, and I can request new linen and whatever if I want it. But they clean the bathroom every day, and it's just a clean, conveniently located space. It's like right in the middle of downtown. It's a good spot, but I especially like that I can just fall asleep anytime. That's really nice. But a problem is that, I don't know, sometimes I'll wake up and it'll be 5, and I'll be like, 5 in the morning? Or I just changed my phone to military time, so I know what the time is now without a window. But so I'm not really sure of my sleep schedule, because I also I tried that, not stochastic sleeping, what do they call it? The Benjamin Franklin thing, where you sleep 3 hours at a time, just spread throughout the day, so you're only sleeping 6 hours a day or 2 hours at a time. I've been kind of sleeping sporadically. I'm basically just awake until I'm tired, and then I fall asleep, and then I wake up and I'm not tired anymore. And it's good. I've been feeling refreshed since I've been sleeping in this really dark room because I sleep so well. But I don't know if I'm sleeping a full 8 hours a day. But then again, I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm getting the sleep I need. Okay, anyway, yeah, glad I worked that out. I have a dark room. It's very nice for sleeping in. And I work at any hours of the day anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I was going to get internet here, and I haven't yet. When I started traveling, I didn't use mobile internet. I only used hotspots or my offline maps. And then after, I don't know, a long time, 5 years or something, I was like, why don't you just get internet? Why not? And I did. And it is very convenient, but I decided since I came to Panama that I just wouldn't get it until I needed it. And I haven't met up with other people yet, so it hasn't been a big issue. And there are a lot of free Wi-Fi hotspots because it's a very modern city. But what has been the most interesting was that since I haven't had Google Translate to rely on, my Spanish is better. I feel more comfortable speaking it with people, and I'm listening much more closely when people talk to me. And when I had Google Translate at my beck and call, I would translate stuff constantly. Instead of asking, oh, what is this? And then the person answering me, ¿qué es esto? Oh, esto es hongi. This is mushrooms. Or hongo. I would just search, mushroom in Spanish first, and then ask the guy across the counter from me, ¿esto es hongo? Or I might not even ask because I'll be like, oh yeah, that was it. So, yeah, I haven't had any mobile internet since I got here, and I really feel like it's helping me fall into the language and just pick it up naturally like I used to. And I feel like it's become more difficult in recent years. And I've taught people of all ages English, so I know age isn't a real factor in determining how well you learn a language. I know that's a very popular thing to think, but I've taught 3-year-olds and I've taught 60-year-olds, and they both learn English. Maybe not at the exact same rate, but pretty fast, almost the same rate, I'll say. It's all about attitude and practice time, really. So I don't think I'm losing my ability to learn language as I got older, and especially now that I haven't been using any translation apps, and I'm just getting back into sync with Spanish just naturally. I'm kind of glad I haven't got the internet. If I go on a date or I meet someone, it's going to be weird to coordinate times if I don't have data. But I'm not really worrying about that right now. I feel more present without this data. I can't check Lemmy all the time or social media or anything like that. And instead, I just walked looking for a crocodile yesterday for 2.5 hours and, picking up Spanish and stuff. I feel like I'm more in the city I'm in the world I'm in when I'm not connected to the internet. So it's not a bad experiment so far. I'm glad I didn't get mobile internet this time. And like I said, there is Wi-Fi everywhere, so if I did need something, I'd walk for 10 minutes and there'd be a McDonald's and I could have free Wi-Fi, or a hotel or a casino. But so far, I don't. I just don't need it. I listen to podcasts. The only thing is I listen to my music exclusively streaming, so that's kind of a pain, and it's almost worth getting the mobile internet just so I can listen to whatever music I want all the time. But I don't think I'm going to make that change back yet. I'm going to keep this going for a couple more weeks and see how it feels. Okay, looking for a crocodile. Let's talk about that. So a guy moved in next to me, and the person before him spoke Chinese and had his fan on all the time. And if the fan is on, then this mic picks it up and it sounds terrible. So I was going to ask the Mandarin guy if he could turn off his fan at night or something. But when I went over to ask him, it was actually a completely new person. And so I started talking to that guy, and he actually hasn't turned on the fan once since I asked him just if he's out. Like, not in the room, if he can turn it off. If he's here 24 hours a day, I don't mind. I'll work around him. He can leave the fan on. But if he does go out to turn it off, and so it was his first day here, and I was already accosting him. I felt really bad. But he's been really nice and kept it off, so I've actually been able to get plenty of audio work done. But anyway, so he's a fisherman and retired a decade ago or something, and has just been traveling and loving it. And we talked about how awesome it is to travel and how accessible it is. And he wished he had started traveling 30 years, 40 years before, because, of course, once you start traveling, you're like, wait, I could have done this the whole time. And he actually already saw a saltwater crocodile, which I didn't even realize were down here. But I already saw those mapaches, the sleek crab-eating raccoons. And so he wants to see one of those, and I told him where I saw mine, and he told me where he saw the saltwater crocodiles. So I spent 2 hours yesterday walking up and down, maybe longer, this area. The same wall, actually, with the raccoons, just in a different area, because it goes all along the shoreline. And I didn't see any during low tide. He said I should definitely go during low tide. But I did talk to someone else here, and she said that there definitely are crocodiles, and she sees them pretty much every day because she sunbathes in front of the hotel she works at. And she told me where that is. So I'm going to keep going on these croc hunts where I just walk until I see one, because apparently they're very common here. And she says she sees the same giant one in the same spot every day. So I think as long as I keep looking, I'll be able to find one. The only problem with that is that Panama is hot and humid, and I got a heat rash yesterday, which I haven't had in a very long time, and Guatemala in general is a very high elevation, so at night it's cool. My body generally cools out, and I know my body likes cold weather. That's an indisputable fact. Hated growing up in Hawaii, uncomfortable for 20 years, high elevation or cold weather. Instantly, I was like, yeah, this is weather. This is like a proper temperature for my body. And Panama is at sea level, so obviously very humid. And then it's very warm. Luckily, it's very cloudy, so I haven't gotten burned yet. I put on sunscreen, have my hat and my sun sleeves. But I even walked around without the sun sleeves, and I just haven't gotten really burnt yet. So I don't know if the cloud cover is doing that or what, because I'm right on the equator, so I expect it to be getting murdered here. But the weather, I'll say, for an extremely warm, sunny place has been very nice with all the clouds. I've been able to comfortably walk around. It is still hot, but like I grew up in an unbearably hot place, so I'm kind of used to dealing with heat. And I spent plenty of time in Thailand and plenty of temperate zones. So I can tolerate the heat and I'll just walk around. But I must have done something. Either I didn't drink enough water, or maybe I didn't wash my legs enough, because it says that heat rashes come from clogged pores, or they can anyway. So I don't know what, but I was walking around, and after a few hours of walking around yesterday looking for them crocs, I felt a flash of heat on my leg. And if you've never had a heat rash, or a prickly rash, some people call them apparently, according to the internet, at least for me, a bright red patch of skin just blooms from 1 second to the next. It just blooms. And I feel it, and then I look down and I see like a bloom of rash. And it shows up. And as soon as I'm in air conditioning, it's fine. It goes away, even in shade. But if I'm just in the sun too long, or heat too long, I get that. And I walked for hours in the sun when it was hot in Guatemala. But I'm thinking maybe because it's not constantly warm in Guatemala, since it's at high elevation, the nights are still cool. I'm really not sure, because here I have AC at night, so my body does cool down during the night. But I got a heat rash yesterday, and now I have 2 large blooms near my ankles. I made sure to wash my legs very carefully with soap, so they should be able to sweat normally. But maybe I just didn't drink enough water. I haven't been drinking as much water here, because in my Guatemalan apartments, I have instant fantastic water. They have this Eco Filtro, which is my favorite filter ever. It's like a clay volcanic ash silver flower pot inside a big plastic pot, and then that just filters any water you pour into it, and it comes out the bottom crystal clear, and it tastes crystal clear. It's a fantastic filter, Eco Filtro. I really want one, actually. If I get a more permanent housing, I would get that filter before I got anything else first. It's the best tasting water I think I've had out of a filter. So I guess I'll just try and be more conscious about drinking water. I also didn't want to drink a bunch and then go walk around, because there aren't many public restrooms here. Because I'm going to walk for a long time, I don't want to look for a restroom for a long time. And I felt fine walking around without drinking water, but the heat rash is telling me, hey, maybe it's worth having a full bladder so that your body functions more properly in a very hot, humid environment. So I'll drink more water. Hopefully deal with this heat rash. Alright, so the fisherman told me about the crocodiles, and he showed me where he fishes too, and he told me that there's no fishing licenses in Panama, which is the same thing in Luang Prabang, but I didn't get a fishing pole there. But it'd be real easy to get one here. The only thing is, then I'd have to carry it back to my apartment, so I'd have to get a bag. I don't know. It's probably not worth it. I don't know if I want to take up that whole kitchen gutting a fish when there's so much good food here anyway. And fishing is fun, but for me personally, if I catch a fish, I want to eat it. I don't want to go through all the waiting and the work and then throw the fish back. I still would definitely enjoy the catch. I like doing that. But if I'm not taking the fish home and eating it or preparing it in some way, then I'm not as interested in fishing. But maybe I'll go down and just watch him fish one time and shoot the shit with him while he hangs out. Sea fishing. There's a great spot for sea fishing that he goes to, so it would be cool to just check that out anyway, I guess. So in addition to the giant casinos they have everywhere, they also have huge, nice, spacious, air-conditioned malls here with really nice shops, and Chuck E. Cheese's. There's a Chuck E. Cheese in the malls here, and movie theaters. I went to another movie theater and forgot to check the ticket price. That's why I was going to go check it out, and then I just went in and looked at what was playing and didn't even check, because I totally forgot. But whatever, I'll probably go there again. Give myself a break from the heat by hanging out in the AC. The malls are really nice, and they're still popular. I know there's a huge, like, cultural shift, and everyone thinks malls are dying, but the data actually shows that malls are good, and malls are basically growing again. Like, they're really good communal centers, and they might not be the exact same as they were before, but they're not that different. They're communal centers where people can meet and just hang out, and there's people around and different shops to go to and all that. So malls are still doing fine, and they're doing very well down here, and they're way nicer down here. Maybe it's because there's fewer people, or maybe because all that good casino money. But the malls here are huge and spacious and very nice and very clean here. What else? Oh, I tried my first Panamanian empanada. And that was very good, and only $1, so I'll probably get a couple ones. I got one from AM/PM just to see how it was after I got the good ones, and it was crappy because it's from a convenience store. But the good ones I got from the local place that make it, those were really good. I can see why empanadas are so popular. I don't usually like them because there's a lot of bread, and I don't like too much bread. But they were pretty good, the ones I got here, so I would be interested in trying at least the other flavors and the other fillings they have here. And speaking of food, I made a dumber purchase, but whatever. It was 2-for-1 foot-long Subway sandwiches, like from the American chain Subway. And I haven't been to one of those in years because the quality of the material, the quality of the ingredients are just not very good. And usually any local sandwich shop has a better quality ingredients for a lower price. And that's the same here, but it was 2-for-1, and it was one day only, and I was walking by that day, and I was like, why not? 2-for-1. Why don't I try the Panamanian Subway sandwiches? So I got a carne y queso and a pollo pizziola, which I don't know if those are actually Panamanian or not, because I haven't been to an American Subway shop in years. And the sandwiches were both okay, but there was very little vegetables. Like, they were just very stingy with everything, and none of the ingredients were top shelf, or even, they were decent. The ingredients were decent enough, but I didn't eat them and feel like supercharged, full of energy and nutrients. I ate them and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of full now. I did eat both sandwiches because I only eat once a day. So 2 footlongs isn't crazy. That's about a normal amount of calories, maybe a little more than I would usually eat. But it was kind of fun waiting in line. There was like 30 people in line. It was kind of like an amusement park carnival ride. We're all just waiting to get the 2-for-1. And of course, when you get to the front, you're like, so is it all sandwiches? No. It's just these 8 sandwiches, and you can't get any of the actual good ones with chimichurri or anything. Okay. But they were good enough. And now I know, like, my assessment of Subway, I didn't need to update it. It's still a good, solid assessment that I don't need to go to Subway. Oh, you know what's been really cool? I've been missing the rainy season a lot. Like, I know I mentioned I almost went back to Asia just because of the food. I really wanted some spicier, more flavorful food. But the rainy season was another one. I've been thinking a lot about going back to Luang Prabang because I love all the food there, but also the rainstorms there are fantastic. They're just great. But then I got here and it said it wasn't going to rain that much. And I saw a super heavy rainstorm 2 days ago, and almost every day there's a couple hours of rain coming down. So pretty heavy rain. So it's I'm kind of getting maybe not as much crazy freak rainstorms as I want, but I'm getting a lot of rain. And it's been really nice. And like I said, it's cloudy all the time. So yeah, I'm digging the weather and I'm digging my rainstorms. I mean, the streets were straight up flooded a couple days ago. Like, there was mud rolling off the hills and cars were splashing. Cars were up to the bottom of their doors. There was a good like half foot of water on a downward slope. Like, there was a lot of water. It was flooded. It was pretty crazy. What else has been going on? All my Asian mark. Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it. I know I said there's more than one Chinatowns, but there were multiple distinct Chinatown neighborhoods functioning around the city, which was pretty interesting. There were so many different Chinatowns in this one city. I haven't even been to all of them. There's supposedly a really good one pretty far north of me, so maybe I'll check that out sometime. And then the Chinatown buffet I mentioned is pretty far west of me, so I'm definitely going to have to, check out the other ones. I like Chinatowns because I like Chinese food and I like Chinese and Asian products. The ceviche, right. So there's, like I said, there's 20 different blogs that'll show up if you search for Panama City information, but they all list, you have to go to Rana Dorada, the Golden Frog, and you have to go to Mercado de Marisco, the giant touristy food plaza where you can get ceviche and beer for $1. I didn't see that deal there. Maybe they have it. I'll go back sometime soon. But I went there and it just looked so touristy and silly that I went across the street, down the street a little bit, to a really local mom and pop looking ceviche place. And I got a big bowl for $3 or something of shrimp ceviche. And that's where I tried the Soberana beer the first time. And it was a great little afternoon snack after I've been walking to all the Asian markets that day. And it tasted pretty authentic and much more fresh than the other ceviche I had got earlier in the week. And the girl serving it was drop-dead knockout gorgeous. So it was pretty fun to get this good ceviche in a local shop rather than, a giant food plaza. There are also a lot, maybe the densest I've ever seen of happy hours here, and happy hour specials especially. And not just for drinks too, like I was talking about drinks, but also for sandwiches. There's so many 2-for-1 drinks and 2-for-1 sandwich deals. I could every day of the week walk less than 5 minutes from my front door and on any day find a 2-for-1 special near me somewhere for either a drink or a sandwich or a meal of some kind. There's an Irish pub, I think maybe 10 minutes walking, and on Thursdays and Fridays they have 2-for-1 beers with a free appetizer. So I might have to check that place out in a couple days. See what that's like, check it out, What else has been going on? I've been, doing the podcast and talking to a couple people about English jobs. So I've just been looking at English teaching jobs again because people are like, is that job really that good? I'm like, yeah, it's the best thing ever. If you're a native or fluent speaker, you can travel pretty much anywhere you want. You can save as much money as you want, and you work as much or as little as you want. It's a fantastic job. And there are no commitments. As long as you want to, or as short as you want to. So since I was talking about it, I, got excited about it again, started checking what jobs are around, what's in Panama, and there's a bunch of jobs here that I could pick up, or I was looking at the highest paid ones in the United Arab Emirates too. But, if I'm getting heat rashes in verdant Panama, I'm going to wither up and die in the United Arab Emirates. I don't know, maybe I'd love it. They all say there's $6,000 a month jobs there, and I do believe that because I've seen the listings. But there's no way I'm going to work full-time again because I just don't have to, so I'm not going to. But I was kind of thinking about doing private tutoring here in Panama and just... doing that, teaching TEFL stuff. But I'd have to, do work. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I'm into work. At least not until I find my crocodile. I still have too many new things. And Panama is such a vibrant city. I haven't gone to see any of the plays yet, but there's plays going on. Even English language plays. Great Expectations is playing. There's too much new stuff still that I have to explore before I settle down and get bored enough to start teaching English again. The podcast is pretty good. It uses up a lot of my free time, recording this, writing down the outlines, editing stuff afterwards, uploading it, checking the stats. Which, by the way, for anyone listening to this, thank you so much. It looks like a couple more people are listening to this thing a week. So it seems like people are actually listening, which is great because I'm sharing this so that people can hear what it's like to travel. If you're just hanging out around the world after you've saved up enough money to travel, this is what it's like. You just chill out all day and talk on the internet. Anyway, I was scrolling through all those English teaching jobs, and it's just fun to scroll through because if I ever do need a job, I'm like, oh, yep, there's still 30,000 jobs available instantly, especially for someone like me. 2 years of experience is the maximum amount of experience they expect anyone to have. And I have my TEFL certificate, and like 8 years of experience, plus I own 2 schools. So if I ever need to get a job, it's just nice scrolling through all those and knowing that all those jobs are there waiting for me if I ever want to. And I'm like the pick of the litter if they're looking for an English teacher. Oh, I got a funny email from another one of those pod search optimization sites. There's like 1,000 of them. So there was that one that emailed me while I was in Guatemala to tell me I was the number one travel podcast in Guatemala because there are none others. That I'm sure that just means there are no other travel podcasts in Guatemala. But I got another one recently. I got a couple, but they didn't go into specifics. This one said, I'm the number 7 podcast that mentions lean meat, according to Pod SEO, which I guess that must have been one of the China food podcasts, because I don't know why I would be talking about lean meat. But that was really interesting to me because I've heard that hashtags don't matter at all anymore, but for the first 10 episodes or something, I just put literally the first things that came into my mind, word association hashtags, and some metric tracked me as the number 7 podcast that mentioned lean meat. And just the fact that that connection occurred and the relative low amount of effort it takes for me to write out 20 or 25 hashtags, whatever it is per episode, I stopped doing it because I heard hashtags don't matter. But even if I get 100 people who somehow through lean meat or frickin' kettlebells, whatever, something I just mentioned casually and then is in a hashtag, that'd be worth it to me if I get a couple hundred people listening from random hashtags I write. So I'm going to keep haphazardly just adding in all the hashtags to my episodes. And yeah, because maybe some people are connecting through the hashtags. I don't use Instagram or TikTok or anything modern. I don't use anything with hashtags, so I don't know how they work at all. But if people are still using them, it seems worth it to barf out a bunch of hashtags on every episode. Why not? If you know why not, tell me. I'm eager. That's not even a purely rhetorical question. It certainly started as one, but now that I'm thinking about it, if you know why or why not I should be using hashtags or their ability to engage with audiences, let me know if that's even a real thing. I'm curious. Oh, I do feel bad because this one person asked me for advice. They were trans and they were moving to Thailand, or they were looking to leave the United States. And I was like, go to Thailand, teach English, boom. And they asked for advice, but they sent a longer message, but I sent an extremely detailed wall of text back exactly about all of the concerns I was aware of and how they were ameliorated concerning trans people in Thailand, which is a very trans-friendly country. And they asked about teaching, so I said everything I could about teaching. I just sent back way too long answers, and they didn't get back to me afterwards. So either they're taking care of business, because that wall of text I sent them, they could just follow that and they have everything they need to leave the country and start living their lives fully how they want to, how they told me they want to, abroad. But I think when I respond to people online, I'll have to keep it more brief because I have so much free time and I'm so interested in talking about travel that I tend to over-explain trying to be more clear, and I make things less clear because most people don't dive into a wall of text with rabid enthusiasm. So if you write to me, I will try in the future to keep it more concise and specific to your questions rather than think about every eventuality that may be connected, unless you ask me for that, and then I will overwhelm you with walls of response. I hope everything's going good for you this week. Things are going good for me. Food's good here. Women are beautiful here. The ocean, the green trees everywhere. And then all the modern conveniences. Yeah, I got no complaints. Thank you for listening. I hope to speak to you soon, and I'll talk at you again real soon. Have a good day.